we are back on the G Truth with your host, the one and only, Giovanni Canales. And today I'm going to talk about the Game 5 of the finals, the NBA finals, between the Golden State Warriors and the Toronto Raptors. Now, I'm going to go through the whole game. I'm going to talk about all the storylines with Kevin Durant, with, Game 6 coming up, what all this stuff means, the timeout at the end by Nick Nurse, whether that was correct or not. But let me start off by saying this. Clay and Curry, they both had great games. They both combined for over 50 points, combined together. And they each had 5 or more three-pointers. And I believe that's the 4th time that's happened in the NBA Finals for them. The 4th time in their 5-year run in the NBA Finals. The 4th time. Only the 4th time. So they both played really well together. Unlike in Game 3 where Clay was not there, Steph balled out 47 points, but there was no one else there to help him. And then also Game 4 where Clay went bonanzas, but then Curry didn't show up because he was tired from this Game 3 performance. But in Game 5, when it mattered the most, they both showed up. And the Warriors overall shot incredibly well under pressure. 20 three-pointers all together as a team. And then you have Kevin Durant chipping in with 3 three-pointers of his own in that game. You have Boogie contributing, not from 3. He hasn't been shooting the 3 that well, but he contributed off the bench. 14 points. Solid rebounding all around, offensively, defensively, all that stuff. Making some nice defensive plays when it mattered the most. And it's not the end. We'll get to that later, but at the end it was kind of tragic. But throughout the whole game, he was pretty good. And the camera during the game panned over him for a bit while he was on the bench with Kevin Looney and Andrew Bogut out there. And I honestly think that that's probably where he should be to start Game 6. Not because he's bad. But because that helps him process the moment. It helps him focus, refuel, and come determined and play correctly off the bench. Rather than when he's starting, he just doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know how to fit in right from the get-go. Because he hasn't played a whole season with them. With the Warriors, that is. And so when he's off the bench, usually it was with Clay, Quinn, a bit of Iggy, maybe Sean Livingston in there. It's easier for him to figure out what his role is. And that helps him play a lot better. So I think that the Warriors should continue doing that. And then they also have Looney out with injury, so he may or may not play tomorrow on Thursday. If he's ready to go, they should definitely start him and do the exact same thing. Looney, Bogut, and then DeMarcus Cousins. That way Boogie sees what he has to do. And he's able to focus on it and carry it out. And then the bench overall for the Warriors played tremendously well. With Quinn Cook, started the 4th quarter playing pretty well. He made a huge 3. Almost made another 3. But instead of taking that 3, he ended up driving to the paint and dishing it off to Jordan Bell for a little, in the paint, little floater. Over Serge Ibaka, I'm pretty sure. So very solid contributions from the bench. Now for the Raptors. It gets a bit more complicated here. Because you have Kawhi not playing that great for this whole game until that little 2-minute spurt in the 4th quarter at the very end. Around 5.5 minutes left, all the way down to like 3 minutes left. Until Nick Nurse called the timeout. He was not playing that great. But in that little 2-minute spurt, 3 minutes left in the 4th quarter, 10 points in a row. I'll get to that too. I'll read off what happened, but I'll get to that a bit later. but insane. Didn't really play that well throughout the whole game. And Marc Gasol was pretty good early on, making some threes in the first quarter, keeping the Raptors in it when Kawhi was not really doing too much in the early on, really. But late in the game, like the second half, I don't really remember what he did. It doesn't come to mind what he did. And then Siakam too. Didn't really do much for the whole game. Yeah, he got into double-digit points, but very forgettable. Same with Danny Green. He can make a dang shot to save his life, especially when it mattered the most. But, the Warriors still stayed on him because he's a shooter. He's a shooter, so you got to stay on him. But he didn't play that well. And, surprisingly, even though the criticism I've given him for not showing up when it matters the most, Kyle Lowry actually played decently well. What you expect from Kyle Lowry. But until, the pressure really came, like I said, until the pressure was really there, when it really mattered the most, and you could tell that he was thinking about it, he collapsed when it mattered the most. And now, off the bench, Ibaka and Fred VanVleet play pretty well. I mean, they've been playing spectacular for this whole series. But in the end, are they on the floor when it matters the most? Not really. Not really. Are they the first or second option when it matters the most? No. Not really. So you can't really pin anything on them. It comes down to Kawhi, Lowry, Siakam, and Gasol. Not Danny Green. And overall, the Raptors didn't play that well of a game. They made 8 threes total compared to the Warriors' 20. But they dominated the paint like they should have, and they did. And they did a great job of it. And that's what kept them in the game, as well as racking up like 15 more free throws than the Warriors did. Which, it's kind of... That does not happen by accident. The Warriors don't shoot like 12, 15 free throws, and the Raptors shoot 27, 29. That doesn't happen by accident. I'm just saying. I'm not saying that, anything sketchy is happening. I'm just saying that does not happen by accident. And that's a lot of the reason why the Raptors were still in the game. So all that talk that you're hearing of, oh, the Raptors only lost by 1. Therefore, they can still win. Easily. No. That's not the case. They had a lot of things going their way. Much like the Warriors had the 3-point ball going their way, the Raptors had a lot of things going their way. Several things going their way. Until the very end. So let me read it off. Let me read it off for you. Now this is going to be with the fourth quarter, really. And then third quarter, you have Curry not really scoring that much. You have Kawhi scoring 1 point in the fourth. Not in the fourth. In the third quarter, only 1 point in the third quarter for Kawhi. Curry really didn't do much in the third quarter either. But Klay was consistent throughout the whole game, shooting the ball and scoring-wise, defensively as well. He was playing great. And then, in my opinion, Steve Kerr had a pretty poor lineup to start off the third quarter. He had Klay Thompson, Quinn Cook, Shaun Livingston, Jordan Bell, and DeMarcus Cousins. And like I said earlier, Quinn Cook actually came to play in that lineup at the start of the fourth quarter, making a three-pointer and also dishing the ball off after driving to the hoop to Jordan Bell for a little floater over Serge Ibaka. So it actually ended up doing pretty well for the little 2-3 minutes that they played. They actually did pretty well and held down the fort. Now, I'm going to skip forward to the last 5 minutes, 45 seconds left. Klay misses a three-pointer. Norman Powell gets a breakaway dunk after Kawhi gets an uncalled travel and just dishes it off to him. And the Warriors, looking for the travel call, rightfully so, just don't play defense and let Norman Powell get a breakaway dunk. He just flew on that one. Watch it. He flew on that dunk, without a doubt. But I believe it was a travel, a bit. just a bit. And then from there, the Warriors call a timeout to get their defense set, make sure that they focus on the game and not the refereeing, like every team should, especially you, Draymond Green. You have 6 technical fouls. You cannot afford to get one more. Focus on the game, not the refereeing. No matter how disappointing it may seem at times for the Warriors, you got to keep that composure. So out of the timeout, the Warriors continue to bleed. Iggy misses the floater. You have Kawhi start his 10-point solo run. He makes a pull-up 3. And then Curry tries to answer back. He misses. And at this point, the Raptors take the lead. Kawhi makes a 2-pointer. Draymond scores a 2. Kawhi makes another 3. Just pulls up. And then Iggy misses a 2-point shot. And then Kawhi makes another 2. Just like that. Bang. Quick 10-point spurt. And then you have the Warriors down by 6. 6 points. Down by 6 points with roughly 3.5 minutes left. After Kawhi makes that last 2-pointer, you have Curry missing a 3. And then for whatever reason, the Raptors call a timeout with 3 minutes and 5 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Just when Kawhi is getting on the roll, they call a timeout. Now, in my opinion, this is not the core reason why the Raptors lost. That's not the core reason. Is it a factor? Yes, for sure. But is it the main reason? No. No, you cannot blame this timeout for the Raptors losing this game. But this timeout does do several things. It does slow down the Raptors' momentum. It does break that sort of shooting rhythm that Kawhi was in. And if you play basketball, you know what I mean. You know what I mean by shooting rhythm. When you just make one shot, and then you make another, and then you feel like you can make it from anywhere, and you just start shooting it from 40 feet away from the hoop, and you make it, and you just keep on going farther and farther and farther back, making the shot more and more and more insane, because you just got the touch. That's what Kawhi was doing right there. And I thought at that moment, when Kawhi made that last bucket to give the Raptors a 6-point lead with 3 minutes left, I thought the game was over. As did, I think, most of America and most of Canada. They probably thought the game was over. And that the Raptors were the new champions. But that did not happen. What instead happened is that the Warriors end up substituting Quinn Cook, an offensive player, even though he's small, an offensive player, for Iguodala, a shooter. So a shooter in Quinn Cook for a defensive player in Iguodala to help spread out the floor and have more pressure on the Raptors defense. But this is still Raptors ball out of the timeout. And what happens? Like I said, once you get in that rhythm and you get out of it, it's very hard to come back into it. And what ends up happening? Kawhi matches up against Klay. He dribbles. Steps to the left. He gets stuck. Goes into the post. Does a fadeaway against Klay. Klay contests. Kawhi airballs a 2-pointer. What happens on the next possession? Klay comes off a screen. Catches it. Steps into the screen as well. Shoots it. 3. Boom. Down by 3. I saw that and I'm like, oh my goodness, the Warriors actually have a chance. They just gotta play some defense. Well, what happens next? Kyle Lowry, I told you when the pressure is at the highest, he misses the 3. Next possession, you have, I believe, Curry misses a long 3. And then Boogie gets that emphatic dunk, putback dunk. But they call it an offensive goaltending because they believe it was within the rim cylinder. Yeah. I disagree personally. I think it was not an offensive goaltending. I think it's pretty clear that it was not. I'm pretty sure it was outside of the cylinder, the virtual cylinder that they're talking about around the rim. But that's my thought. That's my belief. But that would have cut it down to 1 point game. But that ended up being taken away. And at that point, during the review, Steve Kerr puts in Iguodala back in for Quinn Cook. And for the Raptors, Danny Green comes back in for Norman Powell. Now, I believe that this should have happened earlier for the Raptors. Danny Green should have been in earlier. Not at this point. Because you need to spread out that Warriors defense. Now, it worked out for the Raptors early on, but now it starts not really helping out so much. Next possession, Raptors ball. Lowry gets a backcourt turnover, and then Curry comes down off screen, just shoots the three-pointer, nothing but net. And I replayed that several times because the way it went into the basket was just so beautiful. Just amazing the way it went into the basket. Nothing but net, and it just had that nice little ripple effect of the net. And then Kawhi can't answer with his own three. He misses way to the left. Not an air ball, but still pretty bad. Warriors rebound. And then you have Klay. In all the chaos, with Curry driving to the basket, he kicks it out to Iggy, who kicks it out back to Draymond. And Draymond swings it over to Klay. Klay, at the left corner. Not the corner, but you know, the little... Where the corner meets the arc. That area. Right there. Pump fakes. Kawhi Leonard bites. Goes flying right past him. One dribble. As soon as Klay does that, you know it's going in. It's a free throw for him. One dribble. Bang! Swishes it. Warriors up by 3. 3 3-pointers for the Warriors. Klay, Curry, Klay. The Splash Brothers bring the Warriors back, while Kawhi and Lowry cannot answer. Now, on the next possession, after the Raptors call a timeout, after that devastating 3, Marc Gasol, like I said, forgettable when it comes late, misses the shot. Now, I'm pretty sure that in the 2-minute report, they said that it was probably a foul. But, I mean, even then, misses the shot. But then you have a lot of chances for the Raptors. At the fault of the Warriors in this case. Curry dribbles, goes behind the back, loses it. Draymond Green tries to get it. Backcourt violation. I mean, at that point, that's just bad. And then, like, you have that one early on, and then you have this one where Draymond Green just has the ball and kind of just, I don't even know what he does. He just holds on to it and then just gets hit a little bit and then starts falling backwards and just steps on the backcourt line, and that leads to the backcourt turnover, which gives the Raptors another chance. And they actually do score. And by who you would have guessed? Not Kawhi. Not Gasol. Kyle Lowry, surprisingly. He scored a layup, but that was due to DeMarcus Cousins' goaltending. And actually, this is the right play by Kyle Lowry. Not only to put DeMarcus Cousins in that position, because he's faster than DeMarcus Cousins. DeMarcus Cousins is a bit slower, especially coming off that injury. And still playing off that injury. But because his 3-ball was not falling for a majority of the game, but him attacking the paint was working for a good portion of the game, where he would just get anything he wanted within the paint, especially whenever he was matched up with DeMarcus Cousins, because he would either stop on the dime and do a little fadeaway 2-point mid-range shot that'd go in almost every single time, or he would just drive all the way to the rim and just finish. And he did a great job of that. And then you have, on the Warriors' next possession, Boogie almost throwing this game away again. First with the goaltending, and now with a moving screen offensive foul, where Curry could have gone away, hoisted up a 3, and put the game away. But Boogie moves on the screen. One last chance in for the Raptors. Kerr substitutes in Sean Livingston for DeMarcus Cousins for the length and for the mobility on defense. And this is risky because now you don't have a huge rebounder in the paint. You don't have that rebounder in the paint. So it's really risky to do this. But this allows you to play more out on the perimeter and double team and move a lot quicker, which they really, really needed. And let me just break this down. I believe Kyle Lowry starts off with the ball, and he's trying to give it. Fred VanVleet or Kyle Lowry starts off with the ball. It doesn't really matter, but he's trying to give it to Kawhi Leonard, who has Klay on him. 11 seconds left, roughly. Now, Klay does a great job of denying the pass and forcing Kawhi to come out near the half court to receive it. And by the time that happens, it's down to 8 seconds left on the clock. 8 seconds left. Klay single-handedly took away 3-4 seconds away from the shot clock, from the game clock, while the Raptors were trying to get the ball to Kawhi Leonard. And at that point, you have 8 seconds left. You're at the top of the three-point line, near half court, at the logo area. It's very tough for you to do anything up there. And as soon as Kawhi takes that one dribble, gets close to the three-point line, Iguodala leaves Kyle Lowry on the corner 3 line. All on the left side of the court, directly away from Kawhi Leonard. He just leaves him there. Says, hey, Draymond, you got him. You got him. I'm going to double team Kawhi. And he does just that. He double teams Kawhi. Now you got Klay Thompson and Iguodala, the Warriors' 2 best defenders aside from Draymond Green, guarding Kawhi, double teaming him. And Kawhi passes it out to Fred VanVleet. And Curry does a great job of staying on Danny Green and not being tempted to triple team or do some other crazy thing. He does what he's supposed to do. Stays on Danny Green. And great job of Sean Livingston as well to not allow Kawhi to go to the left side and forcing him to go to the right side. And now Livingston comes up on Fred VanVleet. Fred VanVleet has the ball. He sees Kyle Lowry kind of open. Swings it to him in the corner. There's about 1.5 seconds left. So at this point, he might be able to do a pump fake, but he elects not to. And now we zoom in on Draymond Green. Draymond Green at that point, if you rewatch that, he does a great job of staying on Marc Gasol, denying an entry pass into Marc Gasol, while going around him to get on the shooting hand side of Kyle Lowry. And that's big. Because as soon as Kyle Lowry gets that, he does not pump it. He shoots it. And as soon as Fred VanVleet passes the ball, Draymond Green anticipates that it's going to Kyle Lowry. He runs over there. And he gets his mitt of a hand up to contest the shot. And he arguably blocked it. He blocked it because he was on the shooting hand side. That just goes to show the IQ of Draymond Green. The defensive IQ of Draymond Green. He might not be the fastest. He may not be the most skilled, but he has the IQ. And he did what he had to do in that moment. And he did it great. And when I saw that in real time, I didn't think he blocked it. I just thought Kyle Lowry missed it really bad, hit the side of the backboard. And to be honest, I would not have been surprised. Because that's just Kyle Lowry's MO. And to be quite honest, I don't think he would have made it anyways. Because when it matters the most, Kyle Lowry does not do what he's supposed to do as well. He had that one layup, but aside from that, not really much. But the Warriors' championship mentality and their resilience gave them this win. Their defensive mindset and offensive prowess gave them this win. Now, for the main topic of the game, main storyline exiting the game was Durant. He gave the Warriors 11 points, 3 of 3 from three-pointer. A lot of those were catch and shoot, but as soon as he tried to create something off the dribble, ran into Siakam and went down with what is believed to be an Achilles injury. And at that point, shame on the Raptors fans for cheering the injury. I know people will say, oh, they were cheering for the steal and the breakaway layup or whatever. But no. You rewatch that, you can see fans waving goodbye with smiles on their faces at Kevin Durant, pointing at him, laughing, cheering. Shame on them. Now, credit to the Raptors team on the court, as well, I'm pretty sure off the bench, as well as the Warriors players, on telling the crowd, no, you can't do that. No, you don't cheer someone who just got injured. You applaud them when they get up. You don't cheer when they get knocked down. That's not how it works. Now, the main news around it is he's going to New York City for his doctor, which is kind of interesting. And it's going to be construed by the media in several different ways, where he doesn't trust the Warriors doctors anymore. Or he's going to go to the Knicks. But I'm telling you that that's not the case. That's not the case. Because in what I believe is that Kevin Durant had to have known that something could have happened. Now, the interesting thing is that Steve Kerr apparently said that the doctors of the Warriors, the medical staff of the Warriors, the team trainers, said that Durant couldn't injure it any worse. And like I said on the previous episode, I said there's always a chance of making it worse, of re-aggravating the injury and making it worse. And that's what happened. So maybe there could be a bit of, distrust between Kevin Durant and the medical staff of the Warriors, but I don't believe that there's that much distrust. Because I'm pretty sure Kevin Durant knew that, hey, there's going to be a risk. But if anything, this showed how much he wants to be a part of this team, how much he is a part of this team. Even though, and we saw this on Media Day earlier, where he was sidelined against, I believe, the Portland Trailblazers at that time, in parts of the media saying, well, it's not, I don't think intentional, but it's the way that it was said, where it was Kevin Durant and them being the Golden State Warriors, where they were separate, not together. And Kevin Durant's no. He's saying, no, our play. Saying he's a part of this team. And if anything, he showed it again and again and again. And he poured his heart out for this Warriors team. He poured his heart out by coming back, putting his body on the line. And although it didn't work out for him, we can see that he has never been more a part of this team than now. Now, this is the peak amount that he's been a part of this team. Emotionally, physically, mentally. This goes beyond basketball, where he's a part of that brotherhood that the Warriors have. And for that reason, I believe that he's not going to go to anywhere else. I don't think he's going to go to Brooklyn or go to the Clippers or to the Knicks. I believe he's going to stay in Golden State. Go to San Francisco with them. Go to the new arena. That's what I think. Because he's finally a part of the team. Not only from the Warriors' eyes, because he's always been a part of their team, but from the national perspective. He's finally a part of the team. Now, for my Game 6 prediction, here's what I think. I think that the Raptors are in a pretty good spot. Because mentally they can tell themselves, hey, we're not going to only make we're not going to only make 8 3-pointers. That's not going to happen. They're not going to make 20 3-pointers. Kawhi's not going to play that bad throughout the whole game. Danny Green's going to make some shots. You can say that. And that'd be a valid argument for the Raptors. But here's the thing. Even though I said Raptors in 5 last episode because that's just how it felt. It's looking like it can go to a Game 7. It's looking like it. And for this reason. Because you have Game 6. Whoa, voice crack. Because we have Game 6 Clay. You saw Game 6 Clay down 3-1 against the Oklahoma City Thunder a few years back? You saw that Game 6 Clay? This time it's going to be an Oracle, not away. An Oracle. So take that Clay and amplify it by 2. I don't know. Times 2. Then you have Curry. He's going to play well. Clay's going to play amazing. Role players play better at home. All the pressure's not on the Warriors. It's actually on the Raptors. And like I said, Lowry does not play well under pressure. Marc Gasol has never been here before. Pascal Siakam's young. He's going to have some spurts of doing great, but he's not going to play well under the pressure because he's young. He's young. Van Vliet's probably going to play well. Ibaka's probably going to play well. But will it matter? No. Kawhi might play well. Probably will be. But it cannot be a one-man show. And I'm telling you, this is probably going to go to a Game 7. For that simple reason of just pressure and momentum. Like I said, momentum matters. Raptors have not that much momentum right now. And I think that also the Warriors are going to come out of the gates firing on all cylinders. Mainly one reason because they want to do this for Kevin Durant. And this is almost like that Rockets series where they were down again. Well, no, it was tied 2-2, my bad. But same thing where Kevin Durant goes down, they're like, okay, we won't have him for the series. And against Portland Trailblazers, same thing. They said, well, we won't have him for the series. And so we got to come out and produce. And in a weird way, Kevin Durant's injury helps them fix their mindset a bit. It provides a bit more clarity saying, hey, we don't have Kevin Durant backing us up this time. It's not happening this time. So we got to perform in order to win. We don't have that little savior in the back. And then second also, Oracle Arena is going to be rocking. Home court advantage for the Warriors. Even though they lost both of their home games this series, I just don't see them losing all 3. I mean, you cannot tell me that they're going to lose their last 3 home games at Oracle Arena before going to San Francisco, before moving arenas. That's not going to happen. Now, what I think the Warriors should do, and this is, I mean, you can call me insane, but, I mean, this is what they should do. They should lower all the ticket prices, just pack the stadium, the arena, whatever you want to call it, overfill it, if anything. Get as much noise in there as possible. Don't have business people in there. Have hardcore fans that have been with the Warriors through thick and thin. Don't have these business people in there. Not when it matters the most in this case. Have the hardcore fans in there. Because they're going to be going crazy. They're going to be cheering every single moment. And also, you got to have Kevin Durant out there on the bench this time. It's got to happen. You got to have him out there. So that when he comes out, they cheer for him. And it's a reminder for the Warriors, for their players, every single possession of what they're fighting for. The three-peat for their brother Kevin Durant. They need that reminder for the whole game. They need it. To fight, to continue fighting. And that's the reason why I believe that the Warriors will win Game 6 and send it to Game 7 in Toronto. Where it all comes down to this. Can the Warriors get their three-peat on a historical 3-1 comeback, much like the Cavaliers got their first championship in 2015-2016. Or will the Raptors somehow win their first championship in franchise history with Kawhi Leonard there in his first year with the first-year head coach Nick Nurse? Similar to how the Warriors won it in 2014-2015. Their first championship in 40 years for the Warriors in that case, in 2014-2015. It's a very similar situation with a new head coach and very young players. Either way, it's going to be historic. And it's going to change the NBA as we know it. This has been The G Truth with your host, Giovanni Canales. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Be sure that if you're listening to this on YouTube, you like, subscribe, and also help this channel grow a whole lot more by telling your friends and family, anyone you know really, who likes sports, and even if they don't like sports and just want to listen to do something in their spare time, on their car ride, to listen on to this podcast. Help me grow. Anyways, this has been your host, Giovanni Canales. You have been listening to The G Truth. Thank you for listening, and peace out.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.